So in order to find out the production rate, first you need to know what is cycle time. So we have seen how we can calculate the cycle time. We have this equation to find out the cycle time. After production rate, we discussed what is production capacity, and we have seen the equation to find production capacity as well. So now I shall continue with what is utilization. So utilization, it basically refers to the amount of output of production facility relative to its capacity. This is the equation to find utilization. It is given by Q by PC. We already have come across what is Q and what is PC. We know Q, it is the production quantity, and PC, it is production capacity. So this is the equation: U is equals to Q by PC. Facility and utilization, it is usually expressed in percentage. So utilization, basically it can be assessed for an entire plant, or it may be for a single machine in the plant or any other productive resource. It can even be labor. You can even calculate what is the labor utilization based on what is the output that you're getting and what is the actual capacity of the facility that you have it yourself. So it is often defined as this utilization. It is often defined as the proportion of time that the facility is operating relative to the time available, and it is expressed in percentage. So this is very simple. Utilization, it's nothing but what is the amount of output that you are going to get from the available resources or from the available facilities. Okay, so after utilization, the next measure or the performance measure is availability. So availability, it is a common measure of reliability for equipment. So the word availability itself may be making it very clear as to what it means. It is with respect to the equipment, how much of the time or how many of so how do we find this availability? It is basically defined using two reliability terms. One is mean time between failures and mean time to repair. So mean time between failures, we call it as MTBF, and mean time to repair is MTTR. Both have the unit of hours. This is the equation. I request you all to please note down this equation. A is equals to MTBF minus MTTR divided by MTBF. Availability, it is also expressed in percentage. So we have utilization and availability both expressed in percentage, because we need to know out of the available resources or out of the available time, how much of it is actually utilized in some productive work. Therefore, it can be expressed in percentage. So here is a diagram that you can see. This is a figure which represents the time scale, which is showing mean time between failures and mean time to repair. So you can see here this. Yes.
Can I go back to the previous slide, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Okay, so this is one figure which is representing the time scale, which shows mean time between failure and mean time to repair, which basically is used to define this availability. So you can see on this time scale, you have this box which represents the actual time for which an equipment is operating without any flaws, without any breakdowns. Okay, so this box 1, 2, and 3 represents the proper functioning time of a particular equipment. Whereas if you see this line here, it is representing a breakdown. That means that this equipment was functioning well till here, and then there is this breakdown. Okay, and then after some time gap, you see again the equipment starts operating properly. So here there is this repair that happens, and the repair is completed here, and the equipment again starts operating properly. So this time in between the breakdown and the repair to be complete, that time is called as mean time to repair. This is the time that has been taken in order to repair that equipment. And what is this mean time between failure? It is the time in between one breakdown and the next breakdown. So you can see this is mean time between failure. You can see here, this is the breakdown. The equipment has broken down here. It's repair plus its mean time between failure. So what is mean time between failure? It is the average length of time the piece of equipment runs between breakdowns. And what is mean time to repair? It is average time required to service the equipment and put it back into operation when a breakdown occurs. So this finding availability is very simple. You just have to remember the equation MTBF minus MTR divided by MTBF. You'll have the values given in terms of hours, and it's simple substitution. You get what is the availability. Availability, it is usually expressed in percentage. So if you actually see whenever an equipment is new, the availability of equipment is going to be higher. And as and when you start using it over the period of time, the availability will go on reducing once the breakdowns start. So whenever a piece of equipment basically is brand new, the availability is going to be more. And with age, with time, the availability will go on reducing. So moving on to the next, that is manufacturing lead time. This is supposed to be one of the most important measures. So manufacturing lead time, you also can express it as MLT. It is defined as the total time that is required to process a given part or product through the plant, including any lost time due to delays, time spent in storage, reliability problems, etc. So what happens here when we find this manufacturing lead time, or when we are trying to understand this manufacturing lead time? We have come across different types of products. We enjoy different types of services in our day-to-day life. One of the most important parameter to choose any of the companies. Now, I'm not again restricting my discussion service that you use. One of the important things that we consider is time. How quickly do we get the things? How quickly can a product be delivered? How quickly are we getting a service? Right. So time is very important factor whenever we choose any of the products. So in this competitive environment of modern business, the ability of a manufacturing firm to deliver a product to the customers in the shortest possible time often is going to rule the business, or they are the ones who are going to benefit from the business. So this time, basically, the time that we are talking about here is called as the manufacturing lead time. So this time is one, if you consider a manufacturing unit, manufacturing lead time is the time of the product since its entry into the system till its exit, the total time. That time may have all the operational, non-operational, all the delays associated with it, the storage time, all of that is added up to give the manufacturing lead time. And the companies always aim at reducing this manufacturing lead time as much as possible. how do we find manufacturing lead time? Manufacturing lead time is given by this equation. It is N naught into setup time plus Q into TC plus TNO, that is non-operation time. Just note down this equation. You will come across many problems based on manufacturing lead time. So this is very important. Completed?
One minute, ma'am.
Yeah. I have missed out to mention what is N naught here. So you can just write down N naught. If you can see where here in this equation, I have specified what is MLT, I have specified what is TSU, Q, TC, and TNO, but I have not mentioned, I think I missed it out, what is N naught. So N naught here, please write down. It is number of separate operations, number of operations through which the work unit is routed. N naught is number of operations through which the work part or the unit is routed. In this equation, you will see that most of the terms we have already come across. We have come across what is TSU, that is the setup time. You know what is Q, you know what is cycle time, you know what is this non-operation time as well. So when it comes to manufacturing lead time, as I said, it is the time the product enters, that is in the form of raw materials, till it comes out as a finished part or a finished product. So the total time since its entry till the exit is the manufacturing lead time. So when it comes to production, it usually consists of a sequence of individual processing and assembly operation. It can have actually basically you can classify these activities into two categories. One is operational and non-operational activities. So when it comes to the different activities that are involved, you have the actual processing taking place, there is material handling, there is storage, inspection, and there are so many other non-productive activities as well. There may be some delays happening in between, there may be some breakdowns of the equipment. That's where the material is just going to be in the inventory without getting processed. So all of that is added and that gives you the manufacturing lead time. So this equation that we have seen, that is MLT equation, that is equation number 13. You can see here. It can be adopted for job shop production and mass production by making adjustments in the parameter values. Just as we have seen in production rate, as we have calculated the production rate for the three types of production, the same is applicable for manufacturing lead time. we will be finding the manufacturing lead time for job shop, batch, and mass production. The equation number 13 that you see, that is the equation that we will refer to for batch production. This is the equation where you can see it is N naught into setup plus Q into TC plus TNO. This is all applicable for batch production. When it comes to job shop production, where Q is equals to 1, the equation becomes N naught into TS2 plus TC plus TNO, where Q is equals to 1. So this is your equation number 14. Considering mass production, for mass production, Q is going to be very large and it also dominates the other terms. So in mass production, we have two types, the quantity type and the flow line type. When it comes to the quantity type of mass production, it is one single machine, one single equipment on which all the products are going to get processed. Okay, therefore, if you consider the MLT for mass production with respect to quantity type, then the value of N naught here, this is going to be 1 because on one single setup, you have all the products getting manufactured. Okay, and therefore, in case of quantity type mass production, in which there is a large number of units that are made on a single machine, therefore N naught is equals to 1, the manufacturing lead time simply becomes the operation cycle time of the machine after the setup has been completed and the production begins. So this equation with respect to mass production of quantity type is not very important here. So we'll see what is the equation for flow line type of production. With respect to flow line type, as we have already seen, in flow line, what happens is you have a complete sequence of operations that are going to be lined up. So for example, if you have a product, it has to first go on a lathe machine, then it will go on a milling machine. Okay, then maybe there is some drilling machine, for example. Okay, the sequence is going to be set. Maybe one of the operation, if you consider in the lathe, milling and drilling, milling is taking a lot of time as compared to lathe and drilling machine, then that milling machine becomes the bottleneck station. So yesterday we just heard the term, what is this bottleneck station? So if you consider this flow line type of production where there is going to be mass production of one type of product and every unit passes through a sequence of operations. Again, I'm repeating, I'm considering an example of lathe, milling and drilling operations. In that, milling is taking a little more time. So that milling machine, that milling station, that becomes a bottleneck station. And all of the calculation that you do now will be based on that operation which is taking the longest time, and that will be setting the pace for all other stations. So we do not consider the time with respect to the lathe or the drilling machine, rather we will be considering that operation which is taking the maximum time. Therefore you have here max T naught. Okay, so with respect to flow line production, manufacturing lead time is given by N naught into TR plus max of T naught. If you consider to the equations that we have discussed in yesterday's class, you will come across this equation where TC is equals to TR plus max into T naught. So this is just simplified and it is written here. Now what is TR here? TR is nothing but the transfer time. What do we mean by transfer time? As I said, the part will be moving from lathe to milling to drilling machine. So when it is moving from lathe to milling machine, that is the time that we consider. That is a transfer time. Time taken to transfer the work unit from one station to other station. That is TR. So with respect to the previous equation, these are the terms that are used. N naught, it is number of operations on the line. TR, it is the transfer time, the unit is minutes. Max T naught is the operation time at bottleneck station, unit is minutes. And TC is the cycle time of production line, unit is minutes per piece. So shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So once again, I'll just repeat manufacturing lead time in simple words. It is the time the raw material enters into the company till the time it is going to exit as a finished product. The total time of that particular product is considered as is said to be the manufacturing lead time of that particular product. Since the number of stations is equal to number of operations, so you can use the term n instead of n naught. And if you consider that, then this equation 15, which you have seen earlier, it becomes n into tr plus max t naught. That is n into tc.
Ma'am, what is bottleneck station?
I just explained you in the most simplest form that I could. If you consider this mass production, there is a flow line that is going to be planned. Okay, so you have one product. Now, if you consider your machine shop lab itself, you all have worked on the lathe machine, right? You have seen the working of lathe. Suppose if one part is given to you and it needs to have different types of operations performed on it. Okay, so you'll set the sequence of operations. For example, first on lathe machine, maybe there is a turning operation that needs to be performed. And then the same part has to be moved to the other station, say it is a milling station. On milling station, maybe there is some pocketing operation that has to be performed. And then the same part moves to the drilling station. Maybe there are some 4 or 5 drills that holes that have to be drilled. This is one simple example that I'm taking. If you consider the time that is required at every station, say at lathe on the lathe, hardly half a minute is required. But when it goes to the pocketing operation on a milling machine, it may require 1 minute. When it goes to drilling operation, maybe it will just require 15 seconds or 15 seconds. Okay, so if you compare all the times, milling machine, the milling station that is there, it is taking the maximum time. Okay, so when you actually calculate the time, this is the station which is considered to be the bottleneck station. You all must have, we all know how a bottle looks like, right? You have seen the neck of a bottle, right? So,
Yes,
yeah, that's where the things are going to get clogged. So, though the parts are moving from the lathe to the milling station, they have to go and wait there. Though the lathe machine is performing its task at a faster rate, but it cannot get proceeded further because milling station is taking more time. So it all gets like a bottleneck there. And then when it moves to the next station, the work again goes on fast. So this is one of the most simplest example that I'm considering. If you consider a part which has hundreds of, not hundreds, a number of operations to be performed, when you consider those, then you will see that because of this one bottleneck station, the complete time that is involved, the complete processing time will be affected. So that bottleneck station needs to be identified. And here, in case of manufacturing lead time, this bottleneck station decides the pace of operation for all other operations. So that's bottleneck station.
Yes, ma'am.
It
Thank
is
you.
taking maximum time as compared to all other stations.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving on to the last performance measure, that is work in process. So work in process, it is the quantity of parts or products which are currently located in the factory that are either being processed or are in between the processing operations. So when it comes to mass production, you will see number of stations lined up. Okay, whenever a part is moving from one station to another, if you consider the same example which I have just taken, a part which is moving from the lathe to the milling station. Okay, when at the milling station already one part is getting there is this operation of pocketing getting performed. Until then, the next part is going to wait there. It cannot be processed immediately until the previous part is completed. So the time it is going to be there in between the stations that is work in process. We call it as work in process inventory. It is like a storage station in between the two stations. So your work in process, it is the quantity or quantity of parts or products which are currently located. They are there in the factory, which are either being processed or are in between the processing operations. So work in process, it's basically an inventory that is in the state of being transformed from raw material to the finished product. So it's like a short inventory there in between the stations. So this is the equation to get work in process, that is number of units or the quantity of parts which are currently in the factory either getting processed or they are waiting to be processed. So the equation is given by availability, here it is, availability into utilization into the production capacity into manufacturing lead time divided by number of shifts per week into number of hours per shift. So this is the equation for work in process. So work in process, basically it's like an investment which is done by the firm, but the firm will not get any returns until the part is processed and given out. It is sent out. So work in process represents an investment by the firm, but it is one which cannot be turned into revenue until all processing has been completed. Because of this, the companies have to sustain a lot of cost, because at times this work in process, this inventory that we are talking about, it takes a lot of time until all the products are manufactured and sent out. So this is like a burden on the company. So they try to finish the things as soon as possible, because though they have the products which are either in the semi-finished state or processed or getting processed, it is like a burden on the company. They have invested, but they are not getting any revenues out. So they try to reduce the work in process as much as possible. They try to increase the they try to reduce the manufacturing lead time as much as possible. So here WIP, it is work in process. The unit for it is, as we are finding the number of units that are present in the factory. So the unit is pieces. Availability expressed in percentage, utilization expressed in percentage, you have production capacity in pieces per week, manufacturing lead time, that is, it depends, this period of time depends. Here I have considered week, it can be month, year. SW, it is number of shifts per week, and HSH, it is number of hours per shift. So this is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we start with the problems? So I hope you all have written these 6 performance measures: production rate, production capacity, utilization, availability, manufacturing lead time, and work in process. All the 6 parameters with their equations, I hope you all have noted them down, because now I will start solving the problems, and from the attendance list, I can call any roll number and that she or he has to answer and give me the solution. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we proceed with the problems? We'll solve a couple of problems and stop by maybe 1:45. Shall we start with the problems?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
These are the most simplest problems that you all will come across, because these are solved problems. Unsolved problems I'll take in the next week. So this is the first problem statement. This is example number 3.1 from Michael P. Gruver textbook, 3rd edition of Automation, Production Systems and Computer Integrated Manufacturing. This is 3rd edition. Again, I'm repeating. This is one of the solved problems. Here is the problem statement. a turret lathe section has 6 machines, all devoted to the production of same part. The section operates for 10 shifts per week. Then what is this 10 shifts per week? Can roll number
SW.
Yeah, SW, fine. The number of hours per shift averages 8, and the average production rate of each machine is 17 units per hour. Determine the weekly production capacity of the turret lathe section. So with whatever notes you all have with you, with whatever little things you all have understood, just try to write down the given data. First, write down all the given data, write down all the units correctly that have been specified in the question problem statement. So this is the given data, where N, that is number of machines, is given as 6. SW is 10 shifts per week. HSH is 8 hours per shift. RP, that is production rate, it is given as 17 units per hour. So this is already the hourly production rate that is given. If it was given in minutes, then you had to convert that into hours. So RP here is very important with respect to unit. You have to see whether it is given in hours or not. If not, then you have to convert it into minutes. So you have to determine what is the weekly production capacity. You don't have to worry about the time frame here because the given data itself is in terms of weeks only. So you can directly go for substitutions and get the solution. So you have to determine what is production capacity. You already have the equation to find the production capacity. Write that equation and substitute all of these values, you'll get the answer. Do we have roll number 225 present? Roll number 225. Pawan is not present, 225. Okay, has anybody got the solution? This is the equation. PC is equals to N into SW into HSH into RP. You all have already.
We'll be getting around 8,160 units per week.
8,000?
160 units per week.
160. Okay. So these are the substitutions, and I've just used these units to show how you get the final answer here. So the answer is correct. PC is 8160 units per week. So this is how you can calculate the production capacity. All have got the answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just wait for half a minute for those who have not followed. Let them just copy down the solution and then we'll proceed to the next problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, moving on to the next problem. This is example 3.3 from the textbook. It is on utilization and availability on plant capacity. Just read the problem statement carefully. It says that consider previous example, that is 3.1, the one which we have just solved. Suppose the same data from the example were applicable, but that the availability of the machine is 90% and utilization of the machine is 80%. Given this additional data, compute the expected plant output. Okay, just remember one thing. Whenever availability is not specified in the problem statement, that means we assume the availability to be 100%. Okay, but when it is specified, that's when you're going to consider availability and get the solution. So this is the given data that we have. Now the given data is going to be all of the data with respect to previous problem also. You'll have to get all of those. So this problem is in continuation with the previous problem. So you already have what is the value of N, SW, HSH, what is RP, all of that is given. Along with that, you have A and U value also given. You have to find out what is the expected output. Can anybody tell me which is the equation that we can use here? Have we found any equation to get the value of Q?
Q by PC.
Yeah, I couldn't hear that.
Q by PC.
What is Q by PC?
Utilization equal to Q by PC, ma'am.
Yes, so you can use that equation and get the solution. You know what is utilization, it is given as 80%. You know what is Q, you don't know. You have to find out. You know what is PC? Yes, from the previous problem, the data given in the previous problem or the solution that you have got in the previous problem can be used here. Because as I said, this problem is in continuation with the previous problem. You can just go for substitution. But if you consider production capacity in the previous problem, we did not consider the value of A, right? Had we considered the value of A, there is no value of A considered here because we are assuming that availability is 100%. So the value of A here is 1. But here they have mentioned what is the value of A. So we get this equation Q is equals to U into PC. So this is how you can write the equation by considering availability. So nothing has changed. Only thing is this value of A availability, which we assume to be 100% when it is not specified. When it is specified, you just have to consider it while solving the problem. So in this problem, as they have mentioned that availability is 90%, you have to consider it here. So we already have got PC, that is 8160 here. We know what is utilization, it is 80%, and we know what is availability, it is 90%. So you will get the answer as 5875 units per week. All are getting this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Those are not
Yes,
following.
ma'am.
Have any doubts, you can just ask, or those who are not able to get the solution can just copy it down. These are the most simplest problems we are discussing. These are the solved problems from the textbook. Next problem. A production machine operates 80 hours per week. That is 2 shifts, 5 days at full capacity. Its production rate is 20 units per hour. During a certain week, the machine produced 1,000 parts and was idle the remaining time. Determine the production capacity of the machine. What was the utilization of the machine during the week under consideration? So the time frame here is just 1 week. Just write down the given data. So we have RPS 20 units per hour. We have Q given as 1,000 units and 80 hours per week. It is not hours per shift or shifts per week, but the product of those two is given here. That is SW into HSH. Therefore, the units are important here. If you see the unit, that is 80 hours per week, from that you will understand that it is the product of SW into HSH. Now you have to find what is PC and U. Simple substitution, consider the equations for PC and utilization and just substitute and get the solution.
PC is 1600 units and U is 0.625.
Okay, let's check. Here the value of N is 1 because it is said a production machine operates. They haven't specified any number of machines here, so it's the value of N will be 1. So you get PC value as 1600 units per week. All are getting this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And utilization U is equals to P divided by, sorry, Q divided by PC. It is 0.625, but as utilization is expressed in percentage, you get the answer as 62.5%. All have got this solution?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll
Yes,
proceed
ma'am.
to the next one.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the mean time between failure for a certain production machine is 250 hours and the mean time to repair is 6 hours. Determine the availability of the machine. Very simple problem. This is an unsolved problem from the textbook that I have taken in order to know how you can solve the problems on availability. So this, I suppose, is problem number 3.5 or 3.6, unsolved problem, not solved. This is an unsolved problem. So you have mean time between failures given as 250 hours and mean time to repair is 6 hours. You have the equation for the same.
It's 97.6%.
90,
7.6%.
97%. So availability, you get it as 0.976. As it has to be expressed in percentage, it's 97.6%. I hope all are getting this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this will be the last problem for the day. A problem on
Excuse me,
manufacturing.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Can you go a little slow?
Okay. Last problem. A certain part is produced in a batch size of 100 units. The batch must be routed through 5 operations to complete the processing of the part. Average setup time is 3 hours per operation, and the average operation time is 6 minutes, that is 0.1 hour. Average non-operation time due to handling, delays, inspections, etc. is 7 hours for each operation. Determine how many days it will take to complete the batch, assuming the plant runs 1 8-hour shift per day. The plant runs 1 8-hour shift per day. So write down the given data here. This is the data that has been given already in the problem statement. You have batch size Q is equals to 100 units. So the batch must be routed through 5 operations, that is N0 is equals to 5. TSU is 3 hours per operation, that is average setup time. TC, that is the cycle time, or we can call it as the operation time. It is 6 minutes, which is equivalent to 0.1 hour. And the non-operation time is 7 hours. Now, why we are converting TC from minutes to hours? Because all other units are in hours. You keep one unit. Either you go for minutes or you go for hours. As all others are given in hours, so we are converting TC also in hours. And it is said that the plant runs 1 8-hour shift per day. You have to determine how many days it will take to complete the batch. Now, how do we solve this? Let us start with manufacturing lead time. That is the time that is required for one part to be produced, total time. So this is the equation. First, find out what is manufacturing lead time.
Hundred, ma'am.
100?
Yes, ma'am. 100 hours.
Okay. It's a very simple substitution. We get manufacturing lead time as 100 hours. Unit is correct. Hours.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, how will you find out how many number of days will be required to complete this order, this batch?
And given the plant runs 1/8 shift per day. So from that, if you consider it as say like one shift for 8 hours, and they are running one shift per day, then it will be 8 hours per day. So 100 divided by 8.
The number of days it will take to complete the batch is 100 divided by 8, and that is equivalent to 12.5 days. So this is the answer.
Ma'am, should we keep the answer like 12.5 or it should be rounded off to like 13 days, something like that?
If it is 12.5, which is considered to be half a day, so that's fine. You can keep it as 12.5. If it is something less than 0.5, then you can make it as 12 days. If it's anything more than that, you can make it as 13 days. So
No, ma'am, like even if it is less than 0.5, then also like it should be rounded out to the higher number. That's what, or it should be rounded to the previous number.
You can keep it as it is. There's no problem. But as I'm saying, you can. This is quite logical, right? It is 12.5 days are required. So that's what I said. If it's anything less than 0.5, then you can round it up to 12 days. If it's anything more than 0.5, then you can make it as 13 days. But as this is 12.5, you can consider half a day, right? Therefore, we'll keep it as it is. Or if you want, you can either make it 12 or 13. Both are fine in case of 12.5 days. Okay, if it was 12.1, then you would have made it as 12 days. If it was 12.9, you would have made it as 13 days. Understood? So now also, if you want to keep it as 12 days but write it down first. Write it as 12.5 days, approximately equal to 12 days or 13 days, whichever you want to write. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Actual answer, whatever you all are getting, that has to be written down. And then you can go for your own approximation and write it. So the simple problems.
Yes, ma'am.
So in this unit, more than the theory that I have been speaking from yesterday, this is important. The equations, what are the different terms that are there in those equations, and their units and problems. So these were the most basic, simplest problems that I have considered just in order to make you familiar with the equations that we have come across. On Monday, I will be discussing the unsolved problems from the textbook. There are around 1 minute. There are around 10 to 11 problems in the textbook. Maybe I'm not solving all of those. 4 or 5 discussing in the next class. That is on Monday. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
we'll stop here and we'll meet again on Monday.
Please share the PPT, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll finish the unit first. I'll complete the unit, and because there is one more part, that is manufacturing cost, even that has to be considered. There will be these unsolved problems also. So together I'll share it later only. That's fine.
Okay, ma'am, no problem.
Okay. So we'll end for the day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.